Cruising. It's one of those topics where if you ask a lot of people about it, you get a bunch that will say they absolutely love it, and then you'll get another bunch that will say they absolutely hate it. But if you're new to cruising, you might be wondering, what is it like traveling on a cruise ship post 2020? Do you feel like you're trapped and locked down? Is it like traveling on a big floating petri dish? Let's talk more about it here on Lights and Buttons. Just a quick note, I am not a medical professional and this video is not sponsored by Royal Caribbean. Here, I'll be covering my personal experience and a good chunk of the video will be about the new required COVID-19 testing prior to sailing. It's a sensitive topic and your mileage may vary, so please keep the comments civilized. If you're new to cruising, there's no need to worry since I'll cover some basic information. Royal Caribbean has several classes of ships and each class shares similar designs and features. The Oasis class contains Royal Caribbean's largest ships in their fleet. They're so large that the middle of the ship has a park called the Central Park. Last year, I heard that Royal Caribbean has been doing test cruises with limited capacity such as 50%. I've heard unofficially that the Oasis class ships recently were running at 80% capacity around the time that I was taking this trip. Before we actually head on board the ship, let's talk about the COVID-19 testing. I'll also cover the tech side of things since, well, Lights and Buttons is a tech channel after all. In order to sail, you'll need the following: proof of COVID-19 vaccination over the age of 12. The final dosage of the vaccination is administered at least 14 days before sailing, taking the COVID-19 test no more than 2 days before sailing, and also take a short health questionnaire 1 day before sailing. Be sure to check Royal Caribbean's site for the latest information since things can change. Royal Caribbean also has an app for Android and iOS that allows you to submit information, which can be handy. There are also other useful features that I'll cover later on, so it's worth downloading the app ahead of time. You'll need to purchase 1 to 2 COVID-19 test kits out of pocket that you'll take no more than 2 days before sailing. Each 2-pack kit costs $69.99 when I sailed, and the reason for this is that if a test comes back inconclusive, you'll be able to take another one without jeopardizing your trip. So, budget in some extra expenses when booking a cruise trip. Also, make sure you leave enough time to buy the product so that it has enough time to ship to your house. 1 day before the actual sailing, you'll be asked some health-related questions, such as if you're not feeling well. These health questions can be answered in about a minute or two, so it doesn't take long at all using your Royal Caribbean app. What is it like taking the test? It's pretty easy for the most part. The test also doesn't require you to swab deep into the back of the nose, just only about a half an inch in. So you don't feel that burning sensation like those tests with the long swabs. As a matter of fact, the hardest part is logging into the test on your phone, but it's not that bad and I'll show you what I did to get around the issues. Hopefully the problem is fixed by now, but if not, you'll know what to do. First, some terminology. Abbott manufactures the COVID-19 test kit that I ordered, and Navica is the app that I use with the test kit. I went ahead and created my Navica account with my username, which is my email, and then supplied a password. When you order the test kit, you can take them out from the brown cardboard box that it ships in, but as it says on the box, do not open the test kit itself until instructed to do so. You do this on camera. The test will be supervised by a one-way video conference, and for this, you don't need to schedule ahead of time. I scanned the QR code in front of the box to install the app, and then I logged into the Naviga app using my Naviga username and password. The app doesn't seem to do much other than to redirect to a web browser such as Chrome for the rest of the process. I have an Android phone and my wife has an iPhone, and both of us experienced the same behavior. Now here's the tricky part. With my Chrome browser launched from the Navica app, I was prompted to log in with my Navica account. The username and password that I originally created didn't work here. I used the password manager to store and copy my credentials, so I knew I didn't mistype it. I then chose to create a new account using the same email address as before. It worked, and I didn't get an error message saying that an account already exists, so I guess it's a separate system that uses a different set of accounts. At least it seems that way from my observations, but either way, it's pretty confusing for someone going through this the first time. With the account situation, in my opinion, what Royal Caribbean should do is to establish themselves as the identity provider and use single sign-on authentication so that we negate the requirement to manually create new accounts on third-party sites. This can be accomplished with a protocol such as OpenID Connect or SAML 2.0, and then they can also implement just-in-time provisioning for new customers. Whoa, let's take a break on the tech jargon. What I'm trying to say is we can use one Royal Caribbean account to log in, and then that would also allow you to use that same account to log into Navica. Back to the video. Anyway, once you log in, the site will activate your phone's camera and your proctor will be there to talk to you for instructions. Make sure your camera can see the whole table and allow your browser access to your camera and mic when prompted. A phone stand will be handy if you got one around. They can see you, but you can only hear them. It's a bit of an odd sensation. It's like a horror movie minus the
"I want to play a game"
part. Just kidding. Shortly after the test, you'll get an email with the results, and you'll need to present this at the cruise terminal before you board. In the past, you had to group together at the muster station, wait for everyone else to get to their stations, and yes, I mean everyone because they actually take attendance to verify that people are there physically, and then you sit through a safety training, and then after that everyone gets dismissed. Now, you can go through the app for the safety training before boarding the ship and then report to your muster station just so that you know where it's physically located. I feel like this new procedure is much more efficient. Besides that, most other things seem to have returned back to normal. There were still some other changes, but I didn't feel like that caused me to feel trapped or locked down or anything like that. If you're vaccinated, masks are optional. From my observations, most passengers, like about 95%, were not wearing masks, and 99% of the staff were. On a cruise ship, social distancing is not really feasible due to the space, so you do take on a risk by booking a cruise trip. Plus, when you eat, you'll need to take off your mask anyway, so that's also yet another risk, along with visiting ports of calls, and when you leave the ship and interact with other people that are not part of the ship, that is just yet another risk. The food was generally great. I did enjoy most of the food, and before the trip, I didn't know what to expect. Will they have pre-packaged food to avoid people sneezing at the buffet? That would be quite a change because a lot of cruises are known for their all-you-can-eat buffet. As you can see, things look normal, and if you've been on a cruise before, you'll know that the hand washing stations, at least for Royal Caribbean, is required before you go and eat, and that's still there. There are also other specialty restaurants if you're willing to pay extra for an even larger selection of food. For the shows, they didn't allow you to reserve prior to sailing. It looks like you can reserve shows right after you board, though there seems to be plenty of seats for everyone. Reserving also doesn't assign you a specific seat, so it's not really reserving in a traditional sense. I think you can get in before everyone else does. One bummer was at the Aqua Theater, which they have swimming shows and diving shows, wasn't ready yet for this sailing. However, I got to see a sneak preview since they were rehearsing for future sailings, and it's definitely impressive. There was also a guy practicing on a tightrope while the ship was moving. Sometimes I can't even walk straight with higher waves, let alone walk on a tightrope. They also had a skating show, which was very nice, and true, while it's not the same as walking on a tightrope, being able to jump, twirl, and carry people on ice on a rocking ship is still impressive as well. For the mobile app, it was generally useful. I mainly used it to view and schedule events so that I don't need to use the paper schedule. The maps are a bit hard to use. I actually find that the digital signage, which is the screens on the wall, works better in terms of the user interface. Also, the calendar seems to be limited to a single user. The only exception I saw was that the excursions that were booked through Royal Caribbean would show up on everyone's calendars, but the individual events that you add will only show up on your calendar, and you can't really use it to coordinate it with someone else unless I missed that feature. If you know a way of doing that, or if they added that feature, please let me know in the comments below. Speaking of coordinating, if you want to use the messaging feature, You'll be charged $1.99 per day, even on days that you haven't used it. And it's also not prorated, which means that even if you turn this feature on the second last day, you'll be charged for every single day of the trip. I think Royal Caribbean should include this without additional charge because it seems like they're nickeling and diming. You get access to their local servers for free on their local Wi-Fi network, and that doesn't need the internet access for it to work. So why not include this as a perk of using the app? And one other critique on the app would be if Royal Caribbean can add a text search feature that's robust. It can minimize some of the scrolling that's needed to manually find events. Speaking of events, there are so many things to do on board. I really felt bored because you can lay by the pool if you want, play basketball, watch a show, whatever you want to do. There are also other specialized events that you can attend, such as art auctions, jewelry, and other shopping on board. There's also the Flow Rider, which is a surf simulator that you can do on board the ship. And also the Oasis class ships have a zipline that goes over the boardwalk. A lot of these events are included free as part of your cruise ticket, including the Flow Rider and the zipline, so definitely take advantage if you're interested. All of the crew did an excellent job and were very professional. They also go the extra mile to get to know you and to accommodate for your needs. When the ship is docked at a port, you can choose to either explore the area on your own or schedule an excursion through Royal Caribbean. I've done a mix in the past because it can be cheaper if you're willing to do your own research and to plan your own visits, but if you book through Royal Caribbean, you pay a little bit extra for the convenience factor, such as having them arrange the transportation for you so that it's easy to get to and from the port. The costs versus benefits here is subjective, so I won't tell you to book one way or another. That's entirely up to you. For this trip, our first port of call was Port Canaveral, Florida, but rather than sightseeing there, we decided just to relax on the ship. I got a massage, which was very nice, but if you wanted to go out and see the space shuttles or visit the beach, those are other options as well. Our second port of call was Perfect Day at Coco Cay, which is Royal Caribbean's privately owned island that features beaches and water parks. While chilling at the beach, I did see this thin, dark thing in the water, and it turned out to be a stingray, which was pretty awesome. While there were a bunch of people from not one, but two Royal Caribbean ships that were docked, there was still a decent amount of beach chairs that were available to use without any additional costs. The island is actually pretty sizable. As a matter of fact, when I was talking to one of the employees there, they said that there are actually 500 Royal Caribbean staff members that were living on the island. We also booked a jet ski excursion and a swimming pigs excursion, and unfortunately the jet ski one got cancelled due to weather, but Royal Caribbean did refund us automatically without any hassle. We were able to see the pigs, which was very cool, and it was actually my first time doing something like this. It looked like the pigs were also happy to see us, but on second thought, I think they're actually happy to see the pieces of apples that the staff members were feeding them in an attempt to bribe them for a photo op. The third port and the final port was Nassau. We booked a tour to see the Bahamas on land and sea, and it was a bus trip around town. Then you hop on a boat to sightsee along the coast, and then the boat brings you to another boat that has a glass bottom so you can explore some of the marine life as well. We did hit a thunderstorm while sailing, and the ship had a slow but noticeable rock to it. The ship stabilizers definitely did their job. The rocking motion isn't strong enough to move furniture like in those crazy YouTube videos, but if you have a chapstick that's laying around, you can see that it is strong enough to rock it back and forth. It was a very exciting trip, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. After coming back, we did a COVID-19 test once more just to make sure, and it was negative for the 4 of us that traveled. That's not to say that COVID-19 doesn't exist though. As I said before, it's a calculated risk that you should think about before considering a cruise trip. For the new cruisers out there, I'll wrap up this video with some tips that I've come up with over the years. For those of you who are more seasoned cruisers, feel free to comment below if you'd like to contribute any additional ones. First tip, never pay full price. Many times you'll get promos like 60% off the second guest and possibly other things. If you book off seasons, prices are also cheaper. Second tip, for tech people, it's okay to disconnect from the internet. And yes, for the whole trip. People interaction is good. Say hello to the crew members since they work very hard to get to know you. Third tip, in terms of secure storage, the safe that's in the stateroom is pretty small, at least the one that is on Oasis of the Seas. It can hold passports, it can hold jewelry, some extra cash, but not laptops, or if you're crazy like me, interchangeable lens cameras. So for me, I bought a camera backpack that I was willing to wear pretty much all the time. I'd say also bring a waterproof drawstring bag because you never know if it's gonna rain. If you're going to the beach, you don't want sand getting mixed into your souvenirs. So just something nice to have if you're traveling. Tip number 4, for events, there are no seat reservations as I mentioned before, so I'd say arrive 15 minutes, maybe even 30 minutes earlier to get a good spot for your shows. And next up, this is a tip I like to tell all new cruisers. Orders are flexible during mealtime. And what I mean by that is that if you want to order more than one dinner entree, you can do so without any additional cost. As a matter of fact, the portions are usually small to medium in size, and that will allow you to try out different things. You can also request items that are not on the menu up to a certain point. For example, if you wanted fries with your steak and the steak item itself doesn't list fries, they can make the fries for you. Now, you do have to do this within reason because if you requested sushi, for example, that's part of the specialized dining experience that's extra. And then last but not least, don't forget there is formal night on the cruise ship. It could be 1 or 2 nights depending on the length of the cruise. Again, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as always. See you next time.